Let me say a special good morning to those of you listening to Classic Radio, 105.5, 105.9 on the FM dial. Those of you viewing us via GBN TV, whether it's Channel 7, Channel 11, Channel 20, good morning and welcome. It's To The Point for today, Wednesday, the 28th day of August, 2024. I'm your host, GT. Good morning once again to those of you via social media platforms, whether it's the Facebook page, YouTube channels. Good morning to you. Welcome to The Point. And you know it's Wednesday, and we do, of course, entertain various departments within the government this morning. And this morning we have, of course, the folks from the Financial Intelligence Unit with us this morning. And we'll kick it off this morning. Let me introduce my guest this morning. We have the director of the FIU, that's Mr. Brandon Latouchie with us this morning, and also Inspector Teron Greenidge. Hope I got the names right. You know, I'm bad with names, so forgive me if I make it. Good morning to you, gentlemen, and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you, JT.
All right.
Same here. Good morning as well.
All right. Welcome to this program, and of course, we should have an interesting conversation this morning. My question off the bat this morning, if we're going to kick the conversation off, if someone is to ask a question, I'm sure there are Grenadians out there who are listening and viewing this morning. I'll always hear the word Financial Intelligence Unit. Tell us the main function of the Financial Intelligence Unit. What is the Financial Intelligence Unit to start it off with, if I could say?
Right, thank you, GT. Well, the essence of it is in the name itself, Financial Intelligence. At least part of it. So essentially it's a body, department of government that is set up primarily to deal with complex, multidimensional financial crime. So the focus is financial crime. Mm-hmm. Of course, it encompasses other functions.
Okay.
So public awareness as relates to trends in the global space as relates to the financial market, mm-hmm. and also regulating or assisting in regulating of certain entities within Grenada, also collaborating with regional bodies such as the CFATF as relates to the promoting the mandate of the FATF. Mm-hmm. So in a nutshell, essentially, that is what the FIU does.
Okay, great. Now, Inspector Teron, if I hope you don't mind me calling Inspector Teron just like that.
Sure. Thank you.
I'm assuming you're part of the RGPF, sir. All right. How does the RGPF fit in within the FIU?
Well, the RGPF play a major role in the investigative process, collaborative efforts. We bear in mind that we investigate financial crime, and it's not necessarily petty financial crime. So we look at matters directly relating to the proceeds, mm-hmm. The proceeds from our criminal conduct. And the criminal conduct here can be predicate offenses ranging from whether it's stealing, fraud offenses, drug trafficking, along that line. So the FIU comes in along with the police force in terms of we look at the back end.
Okay.
So the police will look at the predicate offenses, investigate that, and then we comes in to look at the proceeds that comes from these offenses. Yeah. So we do the financial aspect. So there's indeed a very important collaborative effort, mm-hmm. not only with the police, of course, other law enforcement agencies within Grenada, whether it's customs, and the IRD also is considered a law enforcement agency, okay. On tax issues. Yeah, so I must say that there is a collaborative effort among all these LEAs. Some time ago, we have adopted the all crimes approach, which means that all crimes, where someone would have benefited from the offense, money laundering comes into play, and financial crime comes into play. So in the past, we used to have a list of scheduled offenses, a short list, 20 offenses, mm-hmm. but now it's all crimes.
All crimes.
Yeah. So
once it entails something of a financial nature.
Once someone will benefit from the crime,
okay.
then it comes in.
All right. How does the FIU warrant a financial a crime that indulges in financial nature deems to be investigated? How do you, of course, warrant that?
A crime can take different forms, and we start an investigation in different ways. Of course, a complaint can be made from the public.
Yeah.
So that's one. Someone comes in and walks in to make a complaint. We can get referrals, whether it's from the police, DPP office,
yes,
and of course on our own volition. So, for example, something is happening which is of interest locally. We can see the need to launch an investigation, yeah, as we have done in the past.
Right.
Yeah, so it comes from different standpoints.
Okay, now let's go to the director. Of course, there are different trends in the world today in terms of financial crimes. What are some of the most prevalent ones that we are seeing? Of course, that warrants the attention of the FIU. Let's say in Grenada. Let's start up. Let's keep it home for a wee bit.
All right, thank you, Judy. So, as of recent,
yes,
we have been seeing some various scams of different nature, online scams, particularly as it relates to employment, vehicle scams, and romance scams.
All right. So, what are some of these scams that of course our viewing and listening audience could be what about some concerns that the FIU is so concerned in as related to these particular scams, as it comes to especially the ones of vehicle scams, as you mentioned a whole lot, scams of the romance scams, and so how are these concerned? What are the concerns that are from the FIU point of view that draws your attention towards it?
Right. So. Well, you mentioned the vehicle scam, so maybe you should start there.
Sure.
And this is not a scam that occurred only in recent times. We have seen that over the years, and it continues. As a matter of fact, over the last couple months into the year, we have seen an increase in the amount of reported cases. Yeah, and bearing in mind that reported cases, it's possible that there will be a lot more cases out there where persons that have not reported. So the vehicle scam, basically, we have seen cases where a person comes in and make a report that they send monies overseas to purchase a vehicle, and in most cases, it's Japan vehicles. Yeah, and up to this point, 6 months into a year and counting, no vehicle has landed on the shore. In some cases, there are persons would have blocked the local individual from communicating. So these are some of the reports that we have received, and bearing in mind that I think it's important to note that these scams is not only local, it's regional as well. Yeah, so the whole of the region is seeing those things happening.
All right.
Yeah, but we continue to advise persons as they come in. And of course, by the different legal snippets as we release, that they have to be vigilant in terms of the way in which they conduct this type of business. You see, and we have seen that. So most of this cash that was sent overseas, it has been picked up in the U.S.
Yes.
So you have to look carefully at your invoice. For example, yes, you are purchasing a vehicle in Japan, but when you look at the invoice in details. There is no beneficiary receiving that cash in Japan. The beneficiary is in the US.
All right.
Yeah. So it's really to be vigilant, ensure that you analyze and you look carefully at your invoice, just to ensure that who you are dealing with, who you are speaking with, and by extension who you are sending your monies to. They are the person that you are seeking to send your monies to. We have local persons who have been in the business for a long time. Why not consider those persons? Yeah. And I just want to add that in recent times, in relation to the car business, monies which are sent overseas, we are counting for the year so far. We are counting in excess of $250,000 just for the vehicles and our reported cases.
Okay.
Yeah. In one case, we have seen in excess of $50,000 going to purchase a vehicle, and there's no vehicle. So it's really being vigilant and understanding exactly what you are getting involved in. Ask some questions.
All right.
Look carefully at the invoice. The invoice is very important because it startles me in some cases when I look at the invoice at one glance, and you recognize some of the deficiencies that you are seeing in relation to those invoices.
How can one tell the legitimacy of a particular company that they want to get in? They're getting involved with. Sometimes folks, as you said, they are local company, but some folks may need to deal with, of course, the particular individual or company directly. So let's say LBC Japan. How can one tell the legitimacy of companies in terms of they wanted to make that particular purchase and not getting themselves scammed?
Well, it's a difficult task. Because we have seen on a regular basis new companies emerging from Japan, new persons contacting you. You're asking yourself where are they getting the numbers from? They are contacting you to purchase vehicles. So it is difficult. Research online might help, but that in itself is limited because there is not much information out there on these small dealers in Japan.
Yes.
I think we are fully aware of those major dealers in Japan who sell vehicles. Yeah. But there are other dealers who just come on the scene and they are contacting you to sell vehicles.
And sometimes the dealer is too good not to be true, right?
Right. but I think looking at the invoice, and looking to see exactly where these monies are going, because I haven't seen a case where money was sent to Japan and the vehicles haven't arrived. Yeah, there's always something with the invoice in relation to monies are going to a different country. Yeah, the beneficial owners, the beneficiary to the account it might be Italy, it might be the UK, it might be the US as the final destination. Yeah, so it's just continue asking them questions. Don't be quick to send monies. Sending money should be the last option. Yeah. But again, I will lean on the side of caution. There are dealers locally who have been involved in this business for quite a while, and they have been successful. So it might be best to hinge on them.
All right, I'll probably go through that particular direction and go indirectly. In terms of, we spent a few minutes there on the vehicular crime. What are some other crimes that is really of concerns, real crimes, from the FIU point of view?
Right, so in recent times again, we have seen the romance scam.
Yeah.
The romance scam, persons contacting you on the social media, trying to get very close to you, as close as wanting to marry to you. So we have seen that, and lure you into sending money to them. So this is one that we have seen in recent times, and indeed, local person would have gotten caught as a result of that as well. Yeah, in some case, in one particular case, someone who have maybe retired, would have sent all her retirement funds to that individual, hoping at some point that she might be able to get married to that person and be migrated to overseas. Yeah, so we have seen that one as well, and it happened. It happened over the last couple of months as well. The romance scam. The employment scam as well is one of the most recent one. I'm sure we are counting as of now over $1 million in the employment scam. So how this one occurred? There is this ad circulating on social media, specifically on Facebook. So it's in relation to, they are asking you whether or not you are seeking employment. Employment in relation to social services along that line. And once you click on that link, communication starts. And what they will do, they will give you the WhatsApp number, and then the communication will be made via WhatsApp, where they will provide a number of information to you, ask you for your name, address, telephone number, what area you live. They will also inquire in relation to your account number. And in most cases, what we have seen, account number was given. Yeah.
So you're paying to get a job now, right?
You're paying to get a job. Account number is given. And what will happen in a day or two is that they will send some monies for you. In some cases, 5,000, transfer that to your account, 5,000, 3,000. It depends on the amount based on discussion. And they will ask you to send a percentage back to them.
Okay.
And keep the rest as your pay. In some cases, the pay might be $250, $300. It depends on the amount that is sent to you. Yeah. And this has been prevalent over the last couple of months. A matter of fact, we will have investigated a number of these complaints by individuals, and we charge those preferred on a number of persons in relation to this particular scam. So as I said, as it stands now, we are approaching 1 million EC dollars in relation to the total amount, and it continues. It continues. So this originates from reports, local accounts. So I must add that as well. Local accounts have been affected. So whoever the scammer is, wherever he is located, whatever country is located, he happens to get into the account of individuals locally and transfer monies to the victims, well, not the victim, but the persons who are seeking employment. Yeah. So it appears to be that these monies are transferred within the bank. Yeah. So that individual got contact, or they interact with the account of the individuals and then transfer these monies, and then monies are sent via Western Union or PayPal. Okay. Yeah, and these are channels where it's difficult to track. Once the monies leave our shows, it's very difficult to get it back. Okay. We over the years we have been successful in being able to identify, based on communication from our counterparts overseas, we are able to identify the account holders, who have been involved. But that has been it. We can't really go further, because it hinges on a legal issue now. Okay. There have to be a court process. And the question is whether or not a large jurisdiction would drop what they are doing to look into a 50.
It seems to be a small issue for them for some way or the other.
Right, a $50,000 or $100,000. I mean, it's big for us.
Yes.
Yeah, but for those larger countries, it's difficult to get them to look into that for us.
All right.
So this is what we have seen.
Okay. Now, my next question is from an FIU standpoint: how does a complaint warrant an investigation? How does a complaint warrant an investigation? When someone decides to make a complaint, what gives you the authority now to go and investigate that particular complaint for some instance?
Well, anyone can make a complaint, and based on the complaint that is made, if we believe that there are elements or there are ingredients that warrants the launch of an investigation, then we do so. Not in all cases a complaint is made that we will automatically investigate. It must involve some form of ingredient, some form of a complaint that where there are elements of impropriety.
Yes.
Yeah. So based on that, we decide that whether or not we're going to move forward or we're going to leave it as is. But of course, whatever direction we go, we're going to inform the person who made the complaint that this is what we're going to do. Yeah. And there are some cases when we, based on the ingredient, based on what was said to us, we may just look into it on the surface. Yeah. Yeah. And then once we realize there's nothing to go by, then we cut it there. Okay. Yeah. Right. So
I get the complainant no be as a loss. I would assume if there were losses incurred.
Well, it's not a loss. You see, it's not a loss. So a complaint is made. Let's say, for example, someone sends money to Japan to purchase a vehicle. Yeah. And this is a complaint. We look at the matters. As I said to you, most of the times that we investigate those matters, we get to the point of identifying who the accused persons are.
Yes.
We get to that point. Yeah. So we know exactly where the money was picked up, who picked it up. But in terms of retrieving the funds, that's where
it stops there most times.
That's where the issues lies. Okay. Yeah. Because our interests may not be their interests, the foreign counterpart interests. In
terms of the authorities at the other end.
In terms of the amount in question, and it's always most times it's about the amount, $20,000, for we is a large amount. I mean, if you lose $20,000 now, you're in shambles.
Yeah, I'm crying.
Same like me. But the question is whether or not the overseas counterpart is willing to look into that.
Yes.
Yeah. But in some cases within the region, we have cases where as regional counterparts, the rules. Well, I wouldn't say the rules are not stringent. We have strong rules and laws, but we can easily be able to get that money back in Grenada with the click of the finger.
Okay.
Yeah.
We drew for a break, but I want to ask in some of the success rates. What are some of the success rates from the FIU in terms of resolving some of the investigations of the scams and financial crimes that we knew? What are some of the success rates that we have? Is that a high percentage? Also?
Well, in terms of the scams, and maybe we can look at it from local and international.
Yes.
Most of the local scams that came to our desk, we'll have solved those.
Okay.
Yes. But when it comes to the international scams, jurisdictional borders, money is moving to other countries, we have had some challenges, and I have spoken to those recently in relation to the interest. Yeah. But locally, yes, we will have had some success. A matter of fact, in relation to the employment scams recently, we were able to at least prefer charges on individuals, and preferred charges is not just the ultimate success, because remember, these monies come from someone. Yeah, there is a complainant, and if a report of that nature is made, we cannot leave it alone. We have to pursue to the end until we meet some stumbling block. So we would have had some successes in relation to those offences.
All right, great. We drew for a break. Let's take it for, of course, our listeners and viewers. We'll be right back. Stay with us. It's To The Point here on Classic Radio. GBN TV. We'll be right back after the break. Stay with us.
Mark your calendars today for August 30th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Grenada Trade Center Annex for the GBN Flow Back to School Extravaganza. We are bringing you a day of fun and excitement with Bouncy Castle, exclusive deals, and free back to school packs for early bird attendees. Vendors, don't miss your chance. Secure your spot today. Plus, catch all the action with live interviews on GBN Television and our social media channels. Powered by Flow, Bermuda's Biscuits, Fruit Cool Kids, and Megaforce Promotions. For more information, call 449-6886. Don't miss out. See you there.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, once again. It's To The Point, Classic Radio. And with us this morning, I guess, of course, representing the Financial Intelligence Unit with us this morning, we say local, we say the FIU. We just abbreviated a wee bit. Welcome back once again, gentlemen. We want to, of course, move our conversation more. We dealt a lot with, of course, particular, financial crimes. We spent a wee bit talking about that in the first segment. In this segment, I want to talk a wee bit about scams. Everyone will be hearing about scams that, especially peculiar ones that are prevalent here more in Grenada. Of course, Mr. Evans, of course, Brendan, let's hear from you. Tell us about those scams and what individuals out there, especially our listeners and viewers, should pay a lot more attention to, especially when it comes to scams.
Right, thank you, JD. So, as we alluded to earlier on, most of these scams, they are perpetrated on social media. So Facebook, for example, that's where it generally starts.
Yeah.
Person may see a link, an ad on Facebook, and they click it, and they proceed from there. But it's important for our listening public to be aware of certain things that they need to look for. as identifiers, markers, so that they would not let themselves fall victim or fall on the wrong side of the law. So the old adage of if it seems too good to be true, it usually applies across the board, whether it's the employment or whether it's the vehicle scams. If, for example, it's a vehicle, let's start there.
Yeah.
And the inspector would have alluded to that there are some common dealers from Japan that most of us are aware of. The B Forward, I believe, is one, Japanese vehicles and so on. If it's someone, an entity that is foreign to you, nobody knows about it, that's a red flag right there. Do your research. In one case, what we've seen is that these scammers have been so clever, they've just changed maybe just the initials, a couple of initials at the end of the name. So, for example, you may have one Auto as a legitimate company, but it's limited, LTD, and the scammers simply change that to LLC. Most persons, they're not even checking at the end.
You don't go to
forget.
detail. You don't
all you see is one Auto, and as the inspector indicated, you do your due diligence. A simple research on Google, you find the site, you would see what the actual name is. It actually sets out to you their banking information as to where the money should go to, and it will tell you who are the persons that run the site and so on. So these are things that persons can do on their own to avoid getting caught. Other indicators might be the price. I mean, if you, based on what you're purchasing, you would know what the general cost of that particular vehicle is. So that should also be an indicator as to whether or not this seems legit or not. The communication method. If it's only through one particular method, say it's only WhatsApp, you've never spoken to the person, you can't get them on the phone, you can do a video call with them, and the communication, it's sporadic. There's chronic delays in responding. That's also something that should cause you some pause. So these are things that persons need to keep in mind, especially as it relates to the vehicle scam. With the job one, it's similar. There are certain companies that just don't put out vacancy ads on Facebook. The bigger companies that we know of outside there, maybe like Pepsi, Coca-Cola, they don't put up vacancy ads on Facebook. You have to go to their site and they have their links for vacancies and so on, and they'll tell you what the procedure is. So that's one of the indicators. Again, if it's asking you the pay or the commission that they're offering you seems a bit odd. They're giving you huge commissions for doing a simple review or write-up of some local company. These are things should cause you some pause so that you don't find yourself on the wrong end. And as the inspector indicated, that we have actually charged some persons who have benefited from these employment scams, and it's important that persons are cognizant of that, because you can be charged if you are also you retain the benefits of the criminal activity.
All right.
Of course, if you know that you're not expecting a deposit or a certain amount of money into your account, and you see this certain money just magically appear, it should be prudent for you to ask some questions.
Who's sending you those money?
Where it come from, and don't just say, well, okay, I get some money and start spending. No, you can find yourself on the wrong end of the law just the same. So we really want to encourage persons to be vigilant, especially as it relates to the job scam. We know we are in a climate now where some persons may be dealing with some maybe financial issues and unemployment. And we're seeing that the person being targeted are generally some persons who are on the breadline or unemployed. So they are, easily gullible.
Because sometimes you see these particular, of course, advertisements comes out offering you jobs and telling you can work from home and all of these things.
Right.
With an attractive, payment plan that shows up, what would draw your interest? I guess anyone interested will be drawn to that. Now, in terms of these scams on a local front, yeah, of course, we know most time you think of scam, you think of someone from a foreign country trying to attract we are small islands. Scams on a local front, how concerning is that for you? Of course, are we seeing that being something that is trending here in Grenada for some part? Scams on a local front that the FIU is paying attention to?
Well, yes, indeed, and on a local front mixed with international participation as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the employment scam that we spoke of initially. This was a regional, a local one mixed with an international front as well. Because what was happening is that the money was coming from local accounts.
Yeah.
Yeah? And it was sent to local accounts. So somewhere along the line, the fraudster would have gotten into local accounts. Mm-hmm. Yeah? So it seems like they are looking for the bigger accounts, where the large money lies. And as a result of that, they have to find a way to get the monies to them overseas. So this is where the employment scheme comes in.
Okay.
They place an ad on Facebook, persons get in contact with them, and then money was sent to these local person's account.
All right.
Yeah. They are actually withdraw the monies and send it back via money remitters.
All right.
Yeah,
and that is limited person-to-person contact if you say it that particular way.
Right. So in this particular case, this is what will happen, and this is why we say that in most cases it's really a local case, but it have an international front because we do not know exactly what country the fraudster in, but we have seen the movement of cash leaving our shores to different countries, whether it's the US, UK, Canada, different places.
Right. Sometimes we hear the conversation of, especially for individuals being offered jobs, cruise ships and so forth. And sometimes they're talking to individuals on our local front and they've been asked to pay certain monies up front and so forth in order to get those jobs. Have you ever had a situation of that nature here in Grenada?
Well, this employment scam is similar.
It's part of that also.
Yeah. So you are given monies.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you are asked initially to maybe go to a business place and provide some involve in some customer service and give you your reviews. Mm-hmm. But in this particular case, the monies are given in advance. Yeah. When after you receive the money and you're sending money back to the fraudster via the money remitters, the communication stops. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's no question as to what was your experience? That kind of thing. Because obviously, if it's that kind of service that you're providing, you will want to know what's the experience and so forth. So once the money is received by the fraudster, communication stops. Yeah, because the money is already received.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, this is not only affecting individuals. We have seen businesses in some cases, the phishing scam as well. We have seen businesses being affected. Where the communication has been intercepted on the email. Mm-hmm. So, for example, you as a business person is having discussion to import goods from overseas, and you are talking to a supplier, and that supplier sends you the wire transfer information. At that point, that fraudster intercepts your account, which we call that phishing.
Yes.
They intercept your account. And what they will do is change some pertinent information on that particular invoice. Account information is one of those. What they will do is the name will remain the same name with a different twist. The account information will change. You will see a different email if you look carefully. In some cases, let's say, for example, my name is Teron Greenidge. My name is spelled Teron. The email might be Teran. It is very difficult to identify those. Yeah, because in your mind you are speaking to your supplier.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have seen those as well, and those are happening very rampantly. And we are speaking about large amount of cash because when you're doing business overseas, you're purchasing goods. Is the large amount of cash that is leaving our shores. So we have seen those as well. And it's important to note that it doesn't take much for you to pick these things up. Yeah, and a form of verification is really a phone call. Yeah, notwithstanding the fact that you are communicating via email with your customer, a telephone call prior to you sending money or wiring money overseas is very important because it does two things. It tells you whether or not you are speaking, you are dealing with the correct person. Yeah, and also it because obviously you will hear the voice.
Yes.
Yeah, and in some cases, persons were able to pick it up by basically the nature of the individual.
You may be getting an email in English, but that phone call is a different language now when you do make that call.
Not a different language, but it might be a Nigerian at the back end. And you wonder, no, this is the wrong person.
Yeah.
Why am I speaking to this person? Yeah, so I mean, a telephone call is important, but bear in mind that you don't use the information that you receive to make that phone call. It's important to use the original information. Yeah, because you know your supplier. Your supplier will have sent you information in the past. Yeah. So it's important to use the original information, a telephone number, to make that phone call, as opposed to using that invoice that you receive in recent time.
All right. Yeah. Let's focus a wee bit on advice you would give for individuals, especially wanting to protect themselves from being scammed. Whether in whatever ways of course it happens either, whether financially or other means. What sort of advice would you like to give out there to the public? Because the awareness on that level is very much important.
Yeah.
In terms of one protecting themselves. In these days, no one likes to lose money, as we mentioned a while ago.
Of course.
And whether it's for whatever information that has been forwarded to you, some legitimate, but there's always a ways of protecting yourself in that way. Tell us a wee bit about that.
So, GT, just before I let the inspector go into a bit more detail, just to mention and touch on a concern, your question in terms of persons protecting themselves. The victim here, in a lot of these cases, are the persons whose accounts have been affected or been used to transfer monies to the persons who have clicked these employment scheme, for example. And so it's important that persons, companies as well, check their accounts regularly. In a lot of the instances, GT, some of these persons are not even aware that their accounts are affected. It's till after the fact when the money's already done left the shores, it's been dissipated, or the institution may send us a report. So it's important that persons, companies check their financial their accounts regularly, and you may be able to spot some fraudulent payment going out that. You look at it and say, hold on, no, I didn't send any money to, I didn't okay this, I didn't authorize this. So it's important that persons do check their accounts regularly. Also, follow up with your financial institution where it concerns any emails you receive for updating account information. That we believe is one of the ways and the main ways that we believe that fraudsters are being able to get access or gain access to the account. As the inspector indicated, they'll get an email which looks legitimate, and they're asked to click a link, and a link will take them to a page where they have to put in information, and once you do that, the fraudsters get all the information. They're able now to access your online banking, and they can perpetrate these crimes. So it's important that you do your own due diligence. As the inspector said, you make a phone call. It doesn't take a few seconds, just a call, ring your bank, say, I received this email, this is legitimate. Is it does it come from you? Don't just click just because you see, it come from a particular bank, your bank, and you see the logo there. It's easy to copy these things. The fraudsters have become very clever. So we have to, be even better in being vigilant and doing our due diligence, as relates to this. So pick up the phone, follow up before you click a link and you put your information.
All
there.
And that is also referred to even online purchases. Sometimes you have to make sure that the particular source or company that you want to buy from, the legitimacy of it is also that important. Let's continue on the question of protection for an individual, protecting themselves in terms of advice you would like to give out to them.
Right. So if I may, I think, and for whether it's for business or individuals who are conducting business, whether it's locally or overseas, there will all be an invoice generated. So you are dealing with your suppliers. I think it's important for you to peruse your invoice carefully. This is a company that you always do business with, yeah, and there are certain things that you know that they should be there, yeah. Don't be in a haste to wire monies overseas. Check your invoice. Look for the company name. Look for the number. The number is very important. Number may pop up differently on your invoice. The email again. We have seen cases where the interception. We have seen a difference in the email. Yeah, so you have to look for your email. It's important to make that phone call as a form of verification. Sometimes when you call, you recognize that you are not speaking to your supplier. You are speaking to a different person. Yeah. Is on the other end, and they are saying to you, yes, your supplier or the individual who you normally speak to is on holidays or they are somewhere else. You will also recognize that the routing of the monies, they are asking you to send the money somewhere different. Mm-hmm. You normally send your monies to Bank of America. The money stays there, or wherever it is in the US. They're asking to send the monies to Italy, yeah, and they are saying that they have different accounts, yeah, around the world, yeah. But you know that you are constantly sending your monies to the US. Yeah. No, they're asking you to route your monies to Italy. This is indeed a red flag. Yeah. So I think it really boils down to you being vigilant and you understanding, having that relationship with your supplier, and ensure that you dot all I's and cross all T's before you wire money, because once the money leaves our shows, that's it. It's difficult to get it back here. Okay, yeah.
Great. We're due for a break. Let's take it in the next segment, folks. We'll invite our listeners and viewers. If you do have a question or two you would like to ask, feel free to do it in the next segment. So with us, folks, To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We're coming right back after the break. Don't touch your dial.
Hey, if you don't have everything for back to school, don't hurt your head. Because GBN and Flow, they're putting down the biggest back to school extravaganza right here next week Friday, the 30th of August, right here at the Greenidge Trade Center. You have special and everything back to school. We're talking about uniform, books, pencil, pen, crayon, everything back to school. And you have entertainment for the kids also. We have face painting, we have bouncy castle for the kids. And you adults, you can win some stuff also. So you want to come and down here, we're starting 10 a.m. 10 a.m. I'll be hosting, so I'll see you guys there. 10 a.m. Remember, back to school extravaganza, 10 a.m. right here next week Friday. I'll see you there.
Powered by Flow, Bermuda's Biscuits, Fruit Cool Kids, and Megaforce Promotions.
I want you to control your anger. There's a way to feel better. That's one thing to remember. No matter where you are, you can be a star. Stop and take a deep breath and relax yourself. Take another deep breath and relax it, and relax it. Eliminate violence. Whoa, whoa. Rock the box, we say, yeah. GBN, we say, arts and culture living, yeah. Rock the box, we say. I'm telling you, rock the box, rock the box, rock the box, we say. I'm telling you, rock the box, rock the box, rock the box, we say. We'll be jamming here on a Thursday.
listeners. Welcome back, viewers. It's To The Point, Classic Radio GBN TV. In this segment, we open the lines to our listeners and viewers this morning. You can always call us via the WhatsApp 435-2041. You can also call us directly 435-2041. Place your questions to, of course, the guest this morning. And, of course, it's possible to answer or maybe refer for another time. Certainly let you know. Let's take our first caller. Caller, good morning, and you're live.
Hello, good morning.
Caller, good morning, you're live.
Good morning.
Yes, caller, good morning. Go right ahead, please.
Yeah, I just want to ask the gentleman, what about local guys or local people who come into your house and just cheat you out of your money? Is there something they could do about it?
All right, caller, we'll give the, of course, the guest opportunity to respond. Anything in referring to that? What can be done for that?
Yes, thank you very much, caller. And if I got your question correctly, I am looking at it as is it a case of fraudulently getting that money from you? Is that case of stealing? And if that's the case, then of course an offense is committed, and you can make a report. You can make a report to the Criminal Investigation Department, and I'm sure they can be able to take care of that for you.
All right. Caller, good morning. You're welcome.
Hello, good morning. Hello?
Caller, go right ahead, please.
Yes, I just called, but somewhere like I got cut off. I was wondering, somebody comes into your house pretending that they could do something for you. They give you a certain price, you give them the money, and you never see them again. So I was wondering if there is something that could be done.
Of course, we did have a response to you, caller, but maybe you were, of course, probably waiting for the response via the telephone. I guess that was she was probably looking for the response. Yes. She's on the line, probably you can give her the...
So, caller, we are saying that you can make a report to the nearest police station or maybe CID. Once there's elements of criminality in your report. I'm not saying that there is any element of criminality. It's a criminal offense, but once there is elements that involve some criminal conduct, definitely the police will be able to assist you.
Listen, I went to the police and I went to so many places, and it's almost 3 years now. The man came into my house pretending his uncle brought him, to be exact, pretending that he can fix my fridge. He took $600 from me. I never saw him up to today.
All right. As we mentioned, that's something, of course, the regular police service should be able to, of course, offer their assistance for.
Well, yes. Again, it depends on the nature of it. But of course, it doesn't hurt to make a report to law enforcement, and they will assess the report, and they will provide assistance where necessary. So again, it doesn't necessarily have to be a criminal matter, but whatever the incident might be, the police, I'm sure, will be willing to provide some kind of assistance in bringing some form of normalcy to you and satisfaction, of course.
All right. 435-2041, that's the number. If you do have a question or two that you would like to ask, let's go back to the phone line and see if we can get another caller. Good morning, caller. You're welcome, and you're live.
Yes, good morning. I think a lot of the problem is these people target a nation that they know is easy to target. They would look for vulnerable people, third world people who want, and Grenadians like a lot of freeness. So the thing is, they're looking for free things, especially with the internet at our fingertips. Free this, free that. Money, they will give you money. You have to pay money to get money. But they're so greedy. They're so like free thing that they're setting up their self for it. Work hard and stop looking for free thing on the phone, on the WhatsApp, on the internet. Work hard. Go there and work hard, and you will not find yourself being victims of these things. Have some integrity and dignity about all you, and all you will not fall to scams. And another thing that's going on, the scam going both ways, You have a lot of young men now going on the internet trying to pick up woman to send for them. so they could get green card and to get a stay. Them man and them tell them go and get some jobs and stop looking for woman to send for them. Thanks.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution this morning. 435-2041. 435-2041. Let's go back to the phone line. Caller, good morning. You're welcome and you're live.
Good morning. Yes, sir. As far as I'm concerned, we have a lot of problem in Grenada. Now, and it seems to me as if the scammers, the word now is scam, no longer the word thief. So we have two words now in operation, hack and scam. So those are the modern word now. Now, I feel this targeting people of certain age whom they think are got stupid. That is people over 60 years, because this is what is happening. In fact, some institution may be helping the scammers too, because I find certain things so strange that people could take your money out of institution maybe 5 times, 6 times a week or a day, and the institution are not informing you that something is wrong with your account. Because there seems to be a irregularity when the institution never used to see you drawing out money and paying to institution which other institution or other places abroad where you do not know. For example, eBay and other places. This is what I find so strange. We have people in certain institutions giving out information, so they have their Eddie cards, they would say. This is why we have so many scamming being done in Grenada. Because to me, I don't know if we have enough people in the different institutions to carry out the research and hold risk people that are doing these things. Because people have been helped to helping other people abroad to do the scamming, whether it be to buy cars or to pretend they're buying cars, and your money would leave your account, and then the people would say they do not know. You give somebody authority. I want this mister to comment on this observation.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much. Respond to the caller, if anyone can.
Let me just comment on the aspect. Thank you, caller, for your comment and your questions. We have to appreciate that the financial institutions, because they have their own obligations. The institutions have compliance departments. But relative to the banks themselves, they have hundreds, maybe thousands of customers.
Yeah.
They cannot realistically be able to police individual accounts. Now, we have a working relationship with these institutions, and from time to time they would send us reports based on things they pick up on their end when it comes. But they will not be able to police everyone's account, and it goes back to the point I made to persons as onus on us to regularly check your accounts, and that way you'll be able to pick up any fraudulent activity as relates to your account. And then the advice is to contact your bank immediately so that they can put a pause or hold on the funds, or try to preserve your funds, especially when it comes to monies going out.
Yeah.
Normally it goes through an intermediary bank before it hits the final destination. The quicker speed, we're racing against the clock. The quicker you'll be able to identify the financial institutions that then intervene to contact the intermediary bank to try and stop. And in some instances, we have been successful in doing that. But it goes back to the point that the onus is on the customers to continuously check their accounts and to ensure that it is up to date and that there is no sort of fraudulent activity taking place on the accounts.
But it's also though, I mean, if folks are interested in where we do internet banking and so forth, there's always the option of getting that constant notification if withdrawals are made. You understand? So if once folks have those of course set up properly, you know, they will always be get those notifications, so you know something is unusual. If you for yourself didn't really make those withdrawals and so forth, so those are options that you can.
And you made a good point, GT, and I think the caller alluded to, you know, the scammers maybe targeting elderly people who are not so familiar with technology.
Yes.
And that is something that we need to probably maybe work along with the banks and maybe some awareness to get these persons, that grouping, the senior
individual,
who, you know, they may easier fall you know, victim to it because
not paying attention
they don't set up these notifications, or the notifications come and they don't bother to check it.
Yes.
You know, so it's important to look into that. Another point I want to address that the caller alluded to, you know, is, you know, the banks or the financial institutions assisting with the scams. I don't necessarily, I wouldn't agree with that. I would make this point and say that if persons come to the bank and they ask the bank to send a wire to purchase a vehicle, and it goes back to the example that the inspector gave, and the money is going to somewhere in the US, but you believe it's coming from Japan. The bank is going on your instructions. Yes, they may. They can inquire. Are you sure, so ma'am, that you know you satisfied that this is where you want to send the monies? Once you sign that document, you're given an instruction, authorization to the bank now to send your monies to this place. Right. So it's not that institutions are, you know, complicit in the scam, but they are following your instructions.
I mean, and I assume that, as you mentioned also, they will also get a second opinion on you. Hey, are you sure that's where you want to send that particular funds? So, you know, the onus is not always the responsibility. We do have another caller. Caller, good morning, you're live.
Yes, good morning to GT, and have a great day. Good morning to your guests. Now, listening to this conversation, something is playing in my mind. As in the past, we were doing banking with all this problem. Internet was not available, or not as it is today. We're having so much problem with the internet, and this problem that we have in there now with hackers and people extracting the money from the system. Is it imperative that one has to do these electronic banking? Do my information need to be online? Is it necessary? Is it important? Is it a must? Yeah. Could there be another way where I'm banking with you, but my system is not exposed online, so those things could happen to me? I'm listening.
Thank you, caller. Anyone want to respond to the call?
Well, it's a question. I guess it's a question for the financial institution to respond to. But I think if I may respond, if I may speak along the line of online banking. So I guess you'll have a choice whether or not you want to have online banking or not. If you choose not to, then of course it's your choice. And if you intend to have online banking, then you can do so as well. I understand the risk that may be posed in relation to online banking. Of course, in the internet, I mean, the different things can happen. Your account can be hacked into. A person get your communication information. Same as we have seen a number of persons come in and make reports in relation to they have seen these emails come from a different financial institution, and when they click on it, they lost control of their online banking. So maybe it's a risk, if you want to put it that way, to be online. And maybe it's best for you to have your account in the bank and not have an online banking. I mean, I guess it's a choice.
It's a choice.
Yeah, it's a choice.
We'll take our final caller this morning, and then we, of course, get some closing contributions this morning. Caller via WhatsApp, good morning, you're welcome, and you're live.
Okay, good morning, gentlemen. Very informative program and information. But just for my clarity, I just want to ask this question, two questions quickly. In terms of soliciting monies, right? I know people tend to have functions going on. They will ask for monies online, right? Now, I know the government of the day has a what you call a tax threshold. I think it's $3,000 and above you pay income tax, right? And institutions like banks, I think they have an obligation that I think there's a deposit regimen that if you're above a certain amount, like 10,000, they will have to ask you, where is that source of money coming from, right? And who are the source? And if it's not employment-wise, you have to give a descriptive explanation of where this money is coming from. Is that, or would that be able to say that's a financial crime, or is it fraud, or is it something that can be investigated by the FIU? Because people are getting monies by solicitation, and apparently different accounts are being filled with monies, and I want to know if that could be considered fraud or something of the sort. Thank you.
Thank you, caller.
Well, we cannot necessarily say that it is considered fraud. The bank have an obligation based on your deposits, based on your cash, and based on the customer itself. You know, there's something they call know your customer. And of course, different customer will have different thresholds in relation to the banking. So based on your deposits, the bank may ask you to fill out what we call a source of funds declaration.
Yeah.
Teron, Greenidge, UGT, we may deposit the same money, $10,000 or $9,000. They may ask you to fill it out. They may not ask me.
Yeah.
Or they may ask me and not ask you. It depends on knowing your customer, who the customer is. Yeah? Customer at the different thresholds. So we cannot say that it's an offense. It's not an offense. The bank will decide based on the profiling of the customer how they treat with a particular transaction.
I mean, do I have a legitimate business that brings in that particular amount of cash on a regular basis or something? So it may not be something looking as unusual for some reason or the other.
Yeah.
Let's get some closing contributions from you this morning before we take a wrap. It's a little after 10 a.m. already, but let's get some closing comments before we take a wrap this morning.
Right. So for me, what I will add is I just want to implore upon persons out there who may have been affected by the recent employment scam or any other scam on the account. I think it's important that, and it was mentioned, it's important that you check your account quite frequently to ensure that the account is where it's supposed to be. Yeah. For me, I check my account frequently. As a matter of fact, if $1 is missing, I will know because there isn't much there. You know, so I check it quite frequently. So yes, so persons who may have been affected and have not made a report to the police, we are urging you to do so. We are here to help. We will just try our best to see how best we could provide assistance to you. So we are hoping that as we move forward, persons who can check their account and ensure that the account is where it's supposed to be. And if not, then of course you can make a report to the FIU or any other police station across the island. That's fine.
Latouchie?
Yes, so I just want to echo the sentiments of Inspector Greenidge. Just to add, you know, we also need to be a brother's keeper in this. It's a collaborative effort of fighting. The FIU comes in normally at the end of things when the act or the fraud, alleged fraud has been committed. And as I indicated, it's usually a race against time, against the clock, when we are now faced or receive the reports. And two things I want to mention. I mean, yes, sometimes there may be a crime committed, but the victim, more times than they're concerned about the loss.
Yes.
And so in most cases, we'll try our best to see how best we can, kill two birds with one stone. We want to preserve or retrieve the funds.
Yes.
If it leaves us short. So we try our best to see if we can do that. If, of course, it raises issues of criminality, of course, it's part of our mandate as the FIU to investigate and charge. Just want to make an honorable mention of another scam involving the cryptocurrency. You know, there are some persons who do are involved in the trading on the Wall Street.
Yes.
And they do that as a job. The crypto is one that is an emerging trend. In a limited capacity we've seen it, but we've seen persons who have also been victims in the crypto scheme. So it's just to put that out there for persons who are involved with it to do their own due diligence as well and to be careful so that they themselves don't fall victim.
All right. All right, gentlemen, I want to thank you a whole lot for coming on the program this morning and sharing the information. I certainly hope that our listening and viewing audience this morning we may have educated themselves enough to understand and absorb some of the information that we have sent out and don't get themselves, of course, becoming victims of scams and other, activities that may cause that end result, make them feel unhappy. All right. So until we do this again, have yourself a great day, gentlemen, and best wishes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Hey, folks, as we take a wrap for this edition of To The Point, join me again tomorrow, once your mighty permits, health, strength, and everything else in between for another edition. Have yourself a good one, folks. That's what we say goodbye.